Well, it was an awesome night of fellowship. It was like, wow. Had four people going at once on Facebook Messenger. Had Yurik in Australia, had Jimmy in Sweden, had my brother Seth in Iowa, and myself in Canada. So, wow, four of us together. That was pretty freaking awesome. And that's how we can do it. No joke. We can come together like that in fellowship. It's amazing. Truly is. I found this notes on the book of Job, and this is what I want to bring today. I read it and I was like, wow, really? This is cool. This is pretty freaking awesome. I want to share it. So I'm going to do that today. The book of Job is awesome if you actually read the book of Job and understand it, of what he went through and stuff, and his friends like trying to take him out. I like what Martin says on the show, don't fuck with the anointed ones, and that's it. I love what Martin said this morning. And I watch Martin before I do my show because he's my mentor and he's my awesome elder brother, and I love him. I love you, Martin Zender. You're a good man. I love you. Okay. The thunder, it's called The Thunder of God's Masterful Deeds. Wow. And it's notes on the book of Job. Pretty awesome. What Job's associates say is not absolutely wrong, but it is often in implication and application. Truth concerning God is not used by them to bring strength and assurance to the suffering Job, but rather just the opposite. And there is no real interest in glorifying God for his power and wisdom and righteousness, but rather in defending their own concepts of his glory, thus, in effect, deflecting glory to themselves. Divine dominion and human depravity. Bildad's, that was one of Job's friends there. Bildad's final and very brief address repeats thoughts that were previously brought forward by others. Job chapter 4, verses 17 through 19, and chapter 15, verses 14 through 16. So you can look this story up yourself. You can look it up and understand what God's operation was in that. All of it. Concerning God's power and human insignificance. God has dominion and awesome might, and man is a maggot and worm before him. That's in actually chapter 25 of Job, verse 2. It actually says that. And man is a maggot and worm before him. How insignificant is his creation compared to God, and how powerful and how strong God is in our weakness. So think, we're the most weakest creatures ever, and God's strength shines forth through our weakness. So yeah, we are maggots and worms before him. Really? The facts are so. The significance given to the facts is not rightly so. Job 42:8. The one with awesome might and numberless troops does establish peace. But if this has application to Job in his present affliction, it is not a simple use of divine force in retribution against little creatures for whom God has no very deep interest. As Bildad suggests, it is true, and Job himself has testified, that a mortal in himself cannot be justified before El. Job chapter 9, verse 26. But Bildad repeats this truism in order to distance God from human humiliation and woe. Right. So humans don't want to be humiliated and humbled before God the Father at all. They have too much pride in themselves, so they cannot be humbled or fucking humiliated. And sorry, that's the truth. If you think that you have any kind of standing before God other than what God has given you, then you're not able to be humbled and humiliated before him. And this offers nothing to Job except hopelessness and multiplied despair. It is well that the three associates are now silenced. They shut up. One without vigor. Job's response is sarcasm in chapter 26, verses 2 through 4, followed by a magnificent poem concerning ancient operations of what Bildad called God's dominion and awesome might. How Bildad has helped Job. He has spoken of God's power to one who is without vigor, and of the counsels of God to one who is without wisdom. But what he has said offers no hope to Job for strength or understanding. And he has all along, Job turns his attention from his associates and their insinuations, and he endeavors to direct his thoughts to God and his operations. Since Yahweh has not yet spoken to Job, he can dwell only on previous revelations of God, as passed down from generation to generation. The superb poem of Job 26, 5 through 14, concerns a little buzz of the thunder of God's masterful deeds. Job chapter 26, verse 14. In past times, most particularly as recorded in Genesis 1, 2, and 3, Job has referred to this passage before, and the reason for his great interest in it is not difficult to see. The chaos, Job 26, 7, and darkness, Job 26, 10, and Genesis 1, 2, parallel that in Job's present existence and the operation of God's Spirit and Word in bringing seamlessness out of the chaos. Job 26, 12, and 13 suggest a possible parallel to Job's own deliverance. The waters and thick clouds covering the earth and blocking out the full moon reflect the account of Genesis concerning the abyss covered by darkness. And here also Job sees God acting on the surface of the waters, using again, as he did in chapter 24, verse 18, almost exactly the same phrase used at the end of the second verse of the scriptures. Whatever God's action is, whether delineating the horizon or circling a limit over the surface of the waters, he is seen here as bringing order out of chaos. And that is where Job's expectation lies. Wow. Order out of chaos. That's the name of my show today. Order out of chaos. We need to come together in spirit, brethren. Join together. And this is what I said. We got together last night, 4 of us together. 4 members of the body of Christ together on Facebook Messenger. That was an amazing event to me. And I hope it was to my other brethren. I think it was just the most spectacular thing ever. I said we were going to do it and knew God's going to bring us together. He's raising up like amazing ones. I said that to Seth. I said, like, isn't that something? God is actually illuminating the true members of the body of Christ now. And all those who are false are going to fall off. No kidding. All those who are false are going to fall off. The real fucking members of the body of Christ are standing up now. And that's no joke. And God stands us up. Truly amazing. I love you all. Have a wonderful Tuesday.